2025 was one of the craziest years of my voiceover career. Big wins, huge losses, big time scares, huge wins for VoiceOver School, and some massive life changes. And I'm gonna be breaking it all down in this video. And if you stay to the end, I'm gonna tell you about one of the biggest shifts in my voiceover career for 2026. So who the hell am I? Why should you care? I'm Jesse Carroll. I'm a professional voice actor and coach. I've done over 2,000 voiceover jobs. I've made over $1 million in voiceover in my career. And I am the narrator for History Channel's Backroad Truckers. But more importantly, I am the founder of VoiceOver School, where we teach you how to book your first job, go full-time, and now even earn over 6 figures. And you can get started right now for just $47 a month. Check the links in the description below. 2025 was absolutely nuts for me. Typically, voiceover in January is pretty slow for most people. Productions don't really pick back up until about the second week of January, and they kind of slow roll into things, and things really pick up steam by February. And traditionally, it's been a little bit slower for me in January, but the January that we had for 2025 was off the chain. I cleared 20K that month, and it was just job after job after job after job. And I think part of it was because what I was telling you guys in the last video, during December, a lot of people don't audition. A lot of people just kind of go on vacation, and all of the top people, they've already made their money, so there's less competition. And I just kept auditioning over and over and over in December. And I had a good December and booked a lot of jobs, but sometimes, most of the time, when they post auditions, it's gonna be a couple weeks or a few weeks down the road before they actually pull the trigger and hire that person. And I just got job after job after job. I cleared I think close to 30 jobs last January. February was kind of on par with the previous year. March was okay. April was pretty mediocre, a little less than I'm used to. Probably in the, I don't know, maybe about, what was it actually? Let's take an actual look. Yeah, April was about 11K, so a little bit lower than usual. May this year was just a banger. And then things took a hard left turn. Hard left turn. Okay, so what happened at the end of May was my son was born. I've never had a kid before, didn't know what to expect. We did a lot of studying, we did the books, we read all the books, YouTube and all that. Nothing could prepare us for what happened. And it was the best day of my life. It was amazing. I'm not going to get too much into the changes you feel as a man when you have a son. I can't speak of what it's like to have a daughter because I only have a son. But nothing prepared me for how the lack of sleep would actually affect my voiceover career. And it did a lot. You know, you want to be there for your spouse, and you're running in, you're doing your auditions and running back to the baby. Sometimes you just want to stare at him. It's a beautiful baby. If you haven't seen my Instagram, we post him on there all the time. He's just gorgeous. Way better looking than me. Lack of sleep, inability to get to my auditions as soon as I could on pay to play. That's pretty important, especially on voices.com. You want to get to those auditions as soon as you can. So I figured out that, in June, I floundered a lot. It was definitely my worst month in a few years. He was born on May 28th. So June was really oh man, barely any sleep, maybe 3-4 hours of sleep a night. My voice was kind of like this all the time, but I powered through. Still booking, just nowhere near as much. It was pretty bad month. And then it continued. July was not good. And then August was not good. I was trying to find my way. I was trying to find my footing. And one thing I can tell you is if you're having a kid or you've just had a kid and you're going through the whole sleep deprivation and not being able to get to your auditions as soon as you can, batch them. I've been batching my auditions for years. That's where it really helped me, is that I would pick times that I would for sure be able to get into the booth. And I'd run into the booth and I would do as many auditions as I could until the baby started crying, and I'd go deal with that. As soon as he's, okay again, and, Heather's okay, my fiance, I'd run back up and I would edit them. So I'd just have to pick my battles, and my income hurt a bit. And it's, it's kind of on par with looking back, what I would have expected to happen. Now that I've gone through it, I'm of course that happened. A lot of people take a month, 2-3 months off trying to find their bearings because it's just life-changing. I'd also left New York City to move to Florida. That was a big life change. All that stuff was kind of in this whirlwind of me just being disorientated and not being able to tackle my business the way I've always done it before, immediate and hardcore, and getting to my auditions first, and just being well slept, well rested, and in top form. And I got shook. when you have a bad month in voiceover, that's like, okay, well, it happens from time to time. You have 2 in a row, back to back. It starts to get a little like, uh-oh, like what's going on here? 3 in a row. And I was like, at first I was like, okay, what's going on here? Even me, I'd start to have doubts. I know a lot of you guys have doubts in the beginning, but when you've been doing it for a while and your career kind of stalls and you're like, whoa, like it's so obvious. It's because, you know, I'm a new father dealing with all that kind of stuff. But there was a point in time where I was like, am I done? Is my career, is it like, am I a charlatan? I'm teaching people how to do this and I couldn't pull myself out of it. So I started drinking my own Kool-Aid and taking my own medicine and just pulled back and was like, okay, what's happening? Voice, unrested. How do I navigate that? More warm-ups. Several throughout the day, specifically designed to keep my voice fresh. I'd have to, I steamed, used a Vicks steamer to keep my voice fresh, did a lot of tongue twisters, and I took naps when I could, just to try and get things back on track that way. I still did the batching because, you know, sleep still not at full maximum, and I just worked that plan and things started to come back. And then September, bam, like when I was like really being able to sleep a lot more and getting used to it, getting my rhythm back, being able to get to auditions a little bit quicker. Heather's fully healed up. She's all good. She's taking the brunt of the daytime with Jackson, and I'm able to get back to work. Things right back on track. October, a little bit better. November is good. And then December, it's like now like shaping up to be one of the best Decembers I've ever had. Just this week, even on Monday, which would have been December 22nd, I booked like, what is it, like 5 or 6 jobs in one day, and then 2 yesterday, like big campaigns. So yeah, it's right back on track where it needs to be. So the reason I bring all this up is because, you know, you're inevitably going to run into life-changing events in your voiceover career, and that's okay. Just prepare for it. That's all. Don't panic. Make sure you've always got cash saved up in case, you know, you not bringing in the amount of money that you're used to, and then all of a sudden it feels like you're living beyond your means. It's okay. It's going to happen. Anytime you're in a business where you are the sole proprietor, you're an entrepreneur, you're going after it. If things go sideways, like you've got to be prepared for it. And don't panic. That's the worst thing you can do. Just get back to the fundamentals like I did. What's actually going on? Okay, well, I'm not able to get to my auditions as fast as I can. What can I do? Batch them, make up for it in volume, be okay with that. Spend a little extra time on each audition. That's one thing I did too, was just really tried to do my best on each one. Got back to just making sure that I was actually talking to one person when I'm doing commercial auditions, making sure I'm being as authentic as I can, being unapologetically me, throwing personality into it, especially in the age of AI. And that's another thing that we had this year that happened, which was pretty interesting. AI started to like, you know, it's been on the back burner for a while. People used it, then they didn't like it, they're replacing. They still like human reads, but there was that thing with Tilly Norwood, the AI actor that had Hollywood up in a storm. And people said that they could almost not even tell. I haven't been able to see her act yet. I saw the picture. She looks like an AI to me. People say it's pretty convincing. But that thing was like, whoa, it's like, okay, so we've advanced a lot with the AI technology now. And I tried to make an AI clone of my voice to do my auditions, and it's not there yet. So we got nothing to be worried about at this point as well. But it was the first time that it's kind of like made me go, interesting, AI. Is it actually going to start coming after us at this point? I don't see it happening anytime soon. And I think a lot of the reason for that is because, well, it's a human business. You know, when I'm working with people doing a voiceover, it's not just them hiring me for my voice. They're hiring me for my customer service skills, my speed, how I have artistic intelligence, because I've done this a bunch and I can look at a script and see a bunch of different ways to do it because of the experience I have. That's also what they're paying for. And AI is just going to do what they tell them to do. But so many times when I jump into a live directed session, the director and producer will have an idea. They'll ask me my thoughts. I'll have my idea, and we create something together that's totally different from what any of us had thought before. That's what happens when you get artists together and jam out like jazz. So still, AI, I think it's got a long way to go. And even when it is prevalent, I don't think it's going to take some of the top jobs. I think it's going to be all pretty much the bottom level jobs that you'd see like on Fiverr or things that are like, you know, $200 and below. I think those are going to kind of get wiped out in the coming years, or maybe not. Just a prediction of what I see, but the top jobs, it can't do it. And they don't want to work with it because it's impersonal. It's still a human-centered job. It's still a people-first industry. Brush up on your personality and your what's the word? Customer service skills. For VoiceOver School for 2025, 2025, it officially in February was a around for a year, and we had some really cool things happen in VoiceOver School this year. We grew exponentially. We're double the size we were last year. We've got Dave Beeson teaching authentic commercial voiceover reads in there, mentoring people weekly. We added Mark Grau weekly. We added improv with Brian Michael Rates. We just started going off in there, and we had a lot of incredible results. We had people booking their first jobs. We had people going full time, and we had a couple people this year break the six-figure barrier in their very first year who have never done voiceover before and never trained before. So that was absolutely incredible to see. I had a student hit their first 20K month as well, in a month where I didn't hit 20K. They hit just over 20K, and I hit about 10, so they doubled what I made. And I gotta tell you, there's no prouder feeling than when you see your students exceed you. It was super cool. We also had something pretty awesome happen. The One Voice Awards. We had a ton of people. There was I think 12 people across 6 different categories from VoiceOver School were nominated. But the best newcomer for the One Voice Awards, that category, there was 10 people that got nominated. 5 of them were from VoiceOver School, and Josh Quinn from VoiceOver School actually won, and that was super, super cool. It's so funny because VoiceOver School has kind of taken on a life of its own. Some days I sit back and I'm obviously extremely proud that I built it, but I almost can't believe that it was me, because it wasn't just me. It's all the people, all of you, if you're watching, that make the community what it is. It's such a joy to come to. It doesn't feel like work building, and just seeing the results happen, or just, I couldn't be prouder of you all. I couldn't be prouder of VoiceOver School, and I can't wait to see what we create together for 2026. And in 2026, which brings me to what I'm actually going to do and how I'm going to shift things. I'm going to pull back a little bit on the commercial auditions, on the pay-to-play auditions a little bit, because I got a brand new shiny agent who's fantastic, especially in the video games and animation space. And I am going to lean into that super heavy. I'm going after that with everything I have. And what I found out recently when I went for a big one, which took a lot of effort and it was really demanding vocally, you can't do a lot of auditions in a day if you're doing animation and video games on those days. You kind of have to treat them like when I get an on-camera audition for like a TV show or a film. You spend the entire day working on that. Likewise with video games and animation. I think in the past, when I was going after it casually, I misjudged how like going for a TV or a movie is, and even more so because you have to create everything yourself and with your voice. It takes the same amount of effort. So I'm gonna be really going after that and making some waves, and I'm on a mission to book my first AAA game this year, maybe an animated series, but I'm gonna do one thing at a time. Video games the first thing I'm going for, and really stepping it up. So instead of doing my usual, everybody that watches the channel, you guys know I do 50, 60 auditions a day, gonna be doing about 30 to 40. Now I know some of you are like, what? That's still an insane amount of auditions. When you get good at batching your auditions and get fast at editing by pushing yourself and trying to get better and trying to get faster, you can do 30, 40 auditions in like 2-3 hours. It's not a lot of time. And the rest of it, the day I'm going to spend building VoiceOver School and building it out more modules, more training, things that are going to help people move the needle forward so we can get even more people breaking the 6-figure barrier. And the video games and animation thing, I'm really going for this. Those are 2 areas of VoiceOver that I haven't been competitive in yet. I've done everything else, including a docu-series for the History Channel. Yeah, I'm really going for it this year. So hope you had a good Christmas if you celebrate it. I hope you're having a great, happy holidays with the family. And just remember, set some goals. See how you did at the end of the year. Set those goals and really go for it. You can set monthly goals. You can set yearly goals. But the cool thing about setting those goals is when you look back and see if you achieved it, some you won't, some you will. You'll be able to see as you move forward in the next year how much higher you can raise the bar. They say that people often overestimate what they can do in 5 years, but drastically underestimate what you can do in a year. So set the bar high, track your numbers, really see what you can do in this business. What do you really want? What do you want to go for? Set that goal and go for it. And in the next video we're doing will be next Friday, the first one of 2026. I'll be doing exactly that, going through all my goals that I'm going to set for 2026. I'm going to walk you guys through it, my process, and how I put together goals, and how I look back and see what I achieved, what I didn't achieve, and try to make some projections by looking at past numbers. And other than that, have a happy new year. And if there's anything you want to see for 2026 more of in the channel, I know some people have requested to hear from some of the top talent in the business. I think I'm gonna be looking at that too, bringing some more people for some interviews, some people that I think you guys might like to hear from. But let me know in the chat if you want to know anything else. Other than that, Happy New Year, and we'll see you in 2026. Peace. One thing that almost slipped my mind, aside from so many people in VoiceOver School getting nominated for one Voice Award and one even winning Best Newcomer, the Sovas are happening in January. The Sovas Awards, which is the biggest awards in voiceover. And I nominated for Outstanding PSA for TV or Online Ad. I think that's right. I don't know what it's called. Outstanding PSA. So I got nominated for my first Sovas Award this year, which I'm super stoked about. And four other people, five of us in total, got nominated for Sovas Awards from VoiceOver School too. So I'm going to be going. If any of you are going to the Sovas Awards, I will see you on January 18th in Los Angeles. I think it's at the Beverly Hilton. So yeah, if any of you are going to be there, let me know in the comments below, and looking forward to it. Oh my God, another cool thing that happened this year that I totally forgot. I should have wrote some stuff down. I got asked to present at VO Atlanta, which is a huge honor. I can't wait to meet everybody there. JMC, J. Michael Collins, was so kind to include me in the programming, and I will be presenting on the Friday and the Saturday. More on that to come. I'm even trying to get JMC to be a guest on this channel, so we're going to talk about everything that's going on at VO Atlanta and what you guys can expect and who's presenting and all that kind of jazz, to give you a full rundown if you're interested in going. So yeah, VO Atlanta is coming up. Let me know in the comments below. Are you going to VO Atlanta? I want to know about it. You better put bloopers at the end of this, Perush. Jesus, Jesse. I'm the narrator for histories. I'm the former narrator.